section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Do you have a consumer-related issue? Want to learn more about matters concerning you as a consumer? Well, keep it locked to Nationwide 90 FM for the Consumer Hour with me, Nora Gabe Banton. Weekdays from 9 to 10 a.m. For all your consumer-centric matters, stay tuned to the Consumer Hour on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Ready to tackle that building project? Start right. Start here at H&L Rapid True Value for building supplies. The time by H&L Rapid True Value is
Nationwide time, 5 o'clock.
Interex Distributors presents the ultimate tile clearance sale. Transform your space for less. Dunrobin Plaza, 30 Dunrobin Avenue. The temperature by Interex Distributors is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
From the Nationwide News Network, comprehensive, incisive, tough. This is Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Shalois Michael.
In Nationwide News at this hour, Senate President defends the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA.
The decision not to table this specific report was not taken by the Speaker of the House in isolation.
Opposition leader Mark Golding threatens to take legal action if the FLA report isn't tabled by next week.
Prime Minister says he has deliberately refrained from commenting on the fatal police shooting of a woman in Granville, St. James.
Clearly, I cannot address the facts and details of the matter, and I don't think the public expects me to do that.
Sections of the Jamaican airspace closed this afternoon due to a launch of a SpaceX rocket.
Indicom probing the police fatal shooting of U.S. citizen at the Sangster International Airport this morning.
In news from the rest of the world, Antigua and Barbuda to implement new airport entry measures amid Ebola concerns.
Tulsi Gabbard to resign as U.S. Director of National Intelligence.
In headline sports, Sharika Jackson leads 9 Jamaicans into German Diamond League meet in China on Saturday.
And later in our broadcast, in our covered story at 5:35, a corporal in the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, has come to the defense of confessed gun smuggler Country Hype, writing to a federal court in support of the dancehall producer. The corporal described Country Hype as respectful, humble, and family-oriented. We'll get reactions from security consultant and former JDF member Robert Finzi Smith and public affairs commentator Glenroy Murray.
In the nation's business at 6:25, Senate President KC Tom Tavares Finson has defended the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority.
I wish to make it abundantly clear that the decision not to table this specific report was not taken by the Speaker of the House in isolation.
You'll hear more.
Taking you around the world at 6:45, the World Health Organization on Friday revised its assessment of the Ebola risk within Congo from high to very high. You'll hear more.
And at 7, it's the comments section. This evening, we're asking your reaction to a new survey suggesting that more Jamaicans are shifting away from authoritarian parenting styles. Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio, and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90 FM.
All these and more as we take you home this Friday afternoon. It's Friday, May 22, 2026.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
Now to the details. Senate President King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson has defended the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority FLA as the collective decision of the Parliament's presiding officers. Addressing the Senate on Friday, Tavares Finson hit back at opposition leader Mark Golding's claim that the non-tabling is a breach of law. The Senate President also accused the opposition of unfairly maligning Speaker of the House of Representatives Juliet Holness for the decision not to table the report. Siobhan Campbell tells us more.
The failure to table a report from the Integrity Commission on the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA, months after it was received by the Parliament, has drawn condemnation from the opposition. Opposition leader Mark Golding has gone as far as threatening legal action against the Parliament's presiding officers as a result, accusing Speaker of the House Juliet Holness of breaching the law. But Senate President Tom Tavares Finson has rejected that claim. He says the decision was made collectively by the presiding officers of the Parliament.
Much of the discussion has been criticism directed at the Speaker of the House, who has been unfairly accused of attempting to thwart and stifle our democracy by her failure to table the report. I wish to make it abundantly clear that the decision not to table this specific report was not taken by the Speaker of the House in isolation. That decision was taken by the presiding officers. That is to say, myself as President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, in consultation with the clerk and the legal officers of the Parliament.
The matter is currently before the court as the FLA is seeking non-disclosure of segments of the document. But opposition leader Mark Golding pointed to a previous ruling on the matter of Ian Hales versus the Integrity Commission, stating that Parliament is not constrained by the current proceedings. However, King's Counsel Tavares Finson says the Parliament has a different interpretation, which he believes is on firm legal footing.
The view was taken that those proceedings should move ahead until it became clear where the court was heading in this matter, and we determined that the document ought not to be tabled until the issue in the court was further ventilated. In fact, the approach that we have now adopted has received the approval of the most senior constitutional lawyer in this country, Dr. Lloyd Barnett, who says, if there is an application for non-disclosure in the courts, then you wouldn't frustrate the court's proceeding by tabling the legislation, by tabling the report. We have to have respect for the judicial system.
Meanwhile, the Senate President has cited what he believes are deliberate attempts to undermine the Speaker of the House.
Persons who are well aware of this, however, have sought to ascribe the decision as not to table the report solely to the Speaker of the House, in yet another attempt to besmirch her authority and tarnish her reputation. I am not surprised by these attacks, however, as there is a long history of attacking strong women in leadership in this country by many sections of our society.
Siobhan Campbell for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, the Senate President says he's been in receipt of a threat of legal action from opposition leader Mark Golding. According to him, Golding wrote a memorandum to the Parliament demanding the FLA report to be tabled no later than next week.
I trust that the Integrity Commission's investigative report of the FLA will be tabled at the next sitting of the House of Representatives and Senate, respectively. If not, I am putting the capital on it. If not, I intend to instruct legal counsel to file proceedings as advised in the memorandum. Well, no doubt the memorandum has already been released to the public. I consider this an unprecedented threat to the administration of Parliament and the conduct which I believe is beneath the dignity of the office of the leader of the opposition.
KC Tavares Finson says shortly after its receipt, he saw the memorandum in one of the country's leading newspapers. This, he says, prompted his decision to make it public and respond to it. He declared that the Parliament will not give in to threats.
Without saying too much, I would just indicate that the presiding officers, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, and myself as President of the Senate will not bow to any intimidation or threat, but will administer the affairs of the Parliament in accordance with established protocols, the standing orders, and the Constitution of Jamaica, which is the supreme law of the land.
King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate.
The Firearm Licensing Authority FLA has declared that it is not responsible for its former employees' failure to file their statutory declarations. In a statement on Friday, the FLA says the non-filing of statutory declarations with the Integrity Commission involves 4 of its former employees. But the authority says the individuals referenced had all resigned prior to the due date for the filing of the applicable statutory declarations for the reporting period ending December 2023. The FLA says the filing of the declarations is an individual responsibility governed by the Integrity Commission Act. According to the FLA, 1 of the 4 individuals only worked at the organization for 6 months. They did not successfully complete their probationary period. The remaining 3 had, during their tenure, submitted their statutory declarations to the IC in a timely manner and were compliant with the applicable requirements. The matter of the statutory filings is separate from an alleged Integrity Commission report into corruption and malfeasance at the FLA that has yet to be tabled in Parliament.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says he has deliberately refrained from commenting on the fatal police shooting of a female taxi driver in Granville, St. James. He says there is a need for restraint given his office, despite numerous calls for him to address the incident that continues to generate widespread public discourse. The Prime Minister was addressing a graduation exercise for a staff and a junior command course of the Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF on Friday. Robin Williams reports.
The shooting, which was captured on CCTV, resulted in the death of 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Buju. The footage shows the vehicle driven by Bulgin moving before a policeman fires his weapon in the direction of the driver's side. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness notes that since the incident he has received numerous letters, emails and messages from members of the public urging him to speak on the matter.
I have been deliberately silent on the matter up until this point because as Prime Minister, I cannot and should not make statements that are not properly thought out. And in the immediacy of an event, sometimes we can make statements that more complicates than advance understanding. Clearly, I cannot address the facts and details of the matter, and I don't think the public expects me to do that, but I think the public needs some reassurance of who we are, what we believe, and what it is that we want to achieve. At the core of this is humanity and dignity. That's what it comes down to. Humanity, dignity, and respect.
Several civil society groups have also criticized the actions of the police and have called on the Prime Minister and the Minister of National Security and Peace, Dr. Horace Chang, to address the issue. But the Prime Minister maintains that in his role he must be careful about making public pronouncements. Still, he emphasizes that the overarching responsibility of the state is to preserve and protect life.
I want that to be the default position. We do not pay taxes to fund the police force for the police force to be the instrument that takes life, or for any arm of the state for that matter. The objective is for the police force to preserve and protect life. When you go out on your duties and your operations, the default position must be we are going to protect and serve and preserve. There are some who go out with the default position that they intend to take life. But you as leaders, you must quickly identify those and correct that false notion that they have. Indeed, that is your core duty as leaders.
Prime Minister Holness also extended condolences to Bulgin's family, friends and the Granville community.
I know that the incident has caused pain, anger, and deep concern across Jamaica, and not just in Jamaica. I believe that we should all recognize that we live in a global village, and anything that is happening in Jamaica, yes, it has parallels elsewhere. I extend my sincere condolences to her family, her friends, her community, and all who are grieving.
Robianne Williams for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, Prime Minister Holness asserts that the state is not the purveyor of violence. He emphasized that the establishment of the Independent Commission of Investigations (INDECOM) is intended to hold members of the security forces accountable.
Having Indicom established sent a clear signal that the state of Jamaica and the agents of the state of Jamaica will be held to account for the unlawful taking of life. And any police involved shooting or killing will be independently investigated to give assurance to the public that the state is not a purveyor of violence, and indeed not a purveyor of the ultimate violence, which is that of taking a life.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness.
You're listening to Nationwide News at 5. More news after these.
You're listening to Nationwide 90 FM. The time is
5:14.
Termites, rodents, or birds infesting your home or office? Call Rent-A-Kill Initial, the pest expert, at 876-926-4236 for a free pest assessment island-wide. The temperature brought to you by Rent-A-Kill Initial is
30 degrees Celsius in Kingston City, 29 out west in Montego Bay.
Fast, reliable home internet just got more affordable. Pay only $2,000 for installation when you sign up for Digicel Plus, now until May 31. Home internet plans start as low as $7,499 plus GCT. Call 876-619-7253 for more information. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Continuing the news. Travelers departing the island may experience some delays this afternoon as sections of the airspace are expected to be closed. This is due to the planned launch of a SpaceX rocket ship. In a statement on Friday, the Jamaica Civil Aviation Authority says air traffic operations could be disrupted between 5:30 and 7:43 p.m. The authority notes that once the launch is uneventful, the airspace will be available within 10 to 15 minutes. It says the rocket launch from Texas, United States, is expected to affect aircraft operating through the Caribbean. The authority further notes that the closed airspace will help to mitigate potential risks such as possible debris and other flight safety hazards. Stakeholders are being advised that potential impacts may occur, including temporary rerouting or holding of aircraft, revised flight paths, and possible flight departure delays. The JCAA says Jamaica may also temporarily suspend certain departures pending confirmation of the launch status and airspace availability.
The Independent Commission of Investigations, Indicom, is probing the fatal shooting of an American citizen at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James, early Friday morning. The man was seen on the airport grounds despite being unauthorized to be there. The police tried to apprehend him. However, it's alleged he started throwing objects at them. One police personnel discharged his firearm, injuring the man. He later succumbed to his injury. His identity is still unknown. This incident brings to 18 the number of people shot and killed by the police in May. So far, 133 people have been killed in encounters with the security forces since the start of the year. That's one fewer than the 134 killed in the corresponding period last year.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology, and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Antigua and Barbuda has announced enhanced health screening and surveillance measures for incoming travelers following growing international concern over Ebola outbreaks in parts of Central Africa. The measures were outlined during Thursday's post-cabinet media briefing. It follows a declaration by the World Health Organization that the Ebola outbreak in DR Congo and Uganda is an international emergency. Antigua and Barbuda's Ministry of Health has begun upgrading operations at the Port Health Unit to strengthen monitoring at the ports of entry. Expanded screening measures are expected to take effect this weekend. Under the new protocols, incoming travelers will be required to provide details of their travel history for the previous 21 days.
Tulsi Gabbard will resign from her position as the U.S. Director of National Intelligence in the Trump administration. Gabbard cited her husband's recent bone cancer diagnosis as her reason for departure. In a social media post on Friday, President Donald Trump said Gabbard did an incredible job and the administration will miss her. Her resignation is effective June 30. The principal deputy director, Aaron Lucas, will step in as acting director. Gabbard is the fourth cabinet member to depart the administration in recent weeks.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose assembly and supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Senate President defends the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority, FLA.
Prime Minister says he has deliberately refrained from commenting on the fatal police shooting of a woman in Granville, St. James.
Sections of the Jamaican airspace to close this afternoon due to launch of SpaceX rocket.
Indicom probing the police fatal shooting of a U.S. citizen at the Sangster International Airport this morning.
I'm Robianne Williams.
And I'm Shalois Michael.
Join the Nationwide Family Club at patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. News next, the headlines at 6.
Still looking for a career opportunity in security? Join us at Quest Security Services Job Fair at Harmony Beach Park in Montego Bay this Saturday, May 16, and again on Saturday, May 30 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bring your valid ID, TRN, resume, recommendations, and clean police record. Take the next step toward a career in security with Quest Security Services. May 16 and May 30, Harmony Beach Park, Montego Bay. Quest Security Services, Total Protection Group.
Every professional reaches a moment when growth calls. A promotion, a new opportunity, a bigger vision. At Mona School of Business and Management, our globally competitive graduate programs, including the internationally accredited MBA, are designed for ambitious professionals who are ready to lead. With flexible delivery options that fit your lifestyle, advancing your career is within reach. Learn from world-class faculty. Connect with influential leaders. Transform your future. Visit discover.msbm-uwi.org and apply online for a graduate degree. MSBM, Global Knowledge, Regional Solutions.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch, and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only, all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
Every day, Jamaicans have something to say. In the group chats, on social media, in the streets, there's a place where it all comes together. The comment section. This is not a lecture. This is not a call-in show. This is the hottest topics of the day, filtered through real opinions, real WhatsApp messages, real voice notes, real reactions. You agree, disagree, sound off, text it, voice note it, debate it. Comments section, Monday to Friday from 7 to 7:30 p.m. only on Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Sports here on Nationwide 90 FM. I'm Wayne Walker. We start with news on athletics. The two-time World Championship 200 meters gold medal winner Shericka Jackson will highlight the Jamaican presence at the Xiaoming track and field meet in China, the second stop on the Wonder Diamond League circuit for this season, and that's on Saturday morning Jamaica time. Alric Swiby tells us more.
Jackson is among 9 Jamaicans confirmed for the meet and will renew her rivalry with Bahamian star Shawnee Miller-Weibo and American star Sakari Richardson in the women's 200 meters. The rematch from last Saturday's Diamond League opener in Shanghai will be one of the marquee matchups on the program. Jackson stormed to her fastest Diamond League 200 meters opener in 3 seasons when she logged 22.07 seconds to beat back the challenge of Mila Weibo, who did 22.26, while Richardson placed fourth in 22.42. Jackson believes execution will once again be critical if she is to secure back-to-back wins on the Chinese leg of the circuit.
Just to execute properly, I think last week I did a pretty good job. I love competing with fast girls and all of them is fast, so it's something that we look forward to, a very competitive feel. As I said, I executed last week properly, but I think there's a little bit tweak to what I want to do tomorrow. So it's just to go out there and execute again properly, or even better than I did at the last meet, and I'll run pretty good.
The 100 meters hurdles will again get pride of place and promises another epic battle with one of the best lineups on the planet. It has the reigning world record holder Toby Amusan, current Olympic champion Masai Russell, the reigning world champion Ditaji Kambunje, Jamaica's two-time world champion Danielle Williams, Diamond League champion Akiva Nugent, and Jamaica's national champion Megan Simmons. Russell led home the field in Shanghai in a new meeting record and world-leading 12.25 seconds and is on the hunt for two in a row. The 110 meters hurdles is also expected to deliver another thrilling showdown, with all 9 competitors from the Shanghai meeting returning. Jamaica's Orlando Bennett will again line up against world champion and last season's Diamond League winner Cordell Tins and the Japanese record holder Rashid Murataki. Elsewhere in the field events, Jamaica will be represented by Tajay Gale and Wayne Pinnock in the men's long jump. Lamara Distin is set to compete in the women's high jump, while Rajinja Campbell will contest the men's shot put.
That's Alex Wibby with that report, looking ahead to the Xiamen Diamond League meeting on Saturday morning, Jamaica time, live from China. Some football news now. Newcomers Real Mona and Los Perfectos, they face daunting tasks in return leg of the Jamaica Women's Premier League on Saturday as they seek to overturn first leg deficits against defending champions Fraser's Whip and Arnett Gardens respectively at the Captain Burrell Centre of Excellence. Now Real Mona were handed a heavy 5-0 defeat in the opening encounter, this against the champions, and will need a remarkable turnaround to keep their hopes alive. The newcomers have shown flashes of promise throughout the campaign, but the experience and quality of the reigning champions proved just too much in the first leg. Now, despite the setback, head coach Neil Oxford remains optimistic that his youthful squad will approach the contest with determination.
La Realas nunca es derrotada. That's the motto of Reynolds Academy. Royalty is never defeated. And the defeat might have been today on paper, but there are so many lessons to learn from this game. So many might say the tie is over before it even had started. And we came out here, and I think at some points we had Fraser's trying to play some football as well. And I'll tell you like that, I look around the stands here today, and I can say it again every time I say it. If female football can get this turnout, football is winning in Jamaica.
In the meantime, Los Perfectos are also chasing a comeback, this after suffering a narrow 3-2 loss to Arnett Gardens in their opening fixture. Coach Ricardo Martin believes his players are capable of producing a stronger performance in the return leg.
There's a lot of things that we saw in the game that today we could have, even today it could have been exploited. But I mean, as I said, all season we have a very young team around our skipper, and she has bring them along all season, so they'll continue to learn, and this is a massive experience, most of them today. So next week when we arrive here again, they will understand what it is, and I'm pretty sure they will give us a better account.
That's Ricardo Martin. He's coach of the Los Perfectos women's team.
Nationwide presents the 2026 FIFA World Cup moment.
Nationwide continues its build-up to the 2026 FIFA World Cup to be held in the Americas this summer, with some big moments from past World Cup tournaments. Now, today's World Cup moment comes from Andres Iniesta, who netted an extra-time winner against the Netherlands in the final of the 2010 World Cup Finals in South Africa.
Iniesta's in the middle all alone. If Fernando Torres can find him, it's stabbed away uncomfortably to Fabregas. Surely now, Spain have won the World Cup for the first time in history.
And that was Spain's first and only title, and the first time the World Cup was held in South Africa. Now, Nationwide 90 FM will have live coverage of the World Cup from the Americas, and we start on June 11 with that opening game from the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City, and it will feature the home team Mexico against the country, the rainbow country, that's South Africa. That game gets underway at 1 or 2 p.m. thereabout, and then later on the same day it will be South Korea against Czechia, and we'll bring the opening ceremony as well and write all the games right the way through to July 19. So we're now 20 days away from kickoff in the FIFA World Cup Finals for 2026.
That was Nationwide's 2026 FIFA World Cup moment.
And finally, in sports at this time, Sakima Mullins, promoter of Spar Wars, explained that he's excited about the debut boxing showpiece set to unfold on Sunday, May 24, and it will be at the GW Car Park in Kingston. Mullins says the boxers and their camp are ready and eager to go.
Yeah, everything is coming along nicely. 48 hours out. The fighters are ready. They have their schedule. They're ready for they'll be at their weigh-in tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. After they make weight, it's just for them to show back up at the venue on fight night, May 24th at GW Car Park, 7 p.m. and to show and prove who's the best and who has the force.
And he says the fight card will showcase two of local boxing's biggest names.
The opening bout is going to feature Giancarlo Dojan versus Bruce Dash, and the main event is Daniel Hilton versus Toriano, the medic Nicholas, and the co-feature is Jermaine Breezy Richards versus Fabian Tucker. We have a total of 5 fights on the card. Well, the fighters are excited. There's one because it creates a platform for them to fight, for them to showcase themselves in front of their country, in front of their friends, in front of their family, and the response has been overwhelming. That they're looking forward to come out to show and prove.
That's former Jamaican boxing star Sakima Mullins. And that will do it for sports at this time. We're going to be back though at 6:05 with our main sports cast with Alex Wavy.
Sports at 5 was brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
For all your custom framing, printing, graphic design, and purchase of art, Make It Frame Art Jamaica Limited, serving you for over 40 years. The time by Frame Art Jamaica is
5:31.
Remember the first time, the first glance, the first touch, and rediscover that feeling. At Couples Resorts, every stay feels like the first time all over again. Escape to a couples-only, all-inclusive paradise with gourmet dining, premium cocktails, and unforgettable ocean views, all included. Jamaican residents can celebrate with exclusive rates from $405 USD per night, valid through April 30th. Visit couples.com/residence. Couples Resorts, like the first time, every time.
It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. And if I beach, we a go, we have to reach it. Eclipse, cross it to safe and easy. Outlander, link up Pochi weekend. It's $1 million summer with Mitsubishi. A year sport with space and seating comfortable. It's a Mitsubishi. Hey, it's a Mitsubishi. It's $1 million off. Them 3 ride. Features nice with the leather inside. Cool AC, everybody feel right. It's $1 million summer. $1 million summer.
This promotion is authorized under Section 53 of the Betting, Gaming and Lotteries Act.
The lenses are on. Now the nation is watching. Join Nationwide 90 FM live inside Cliff Hughes Online Wednesday, May 27 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. as Jamaicans for Justice hosts an important national conversation titled Body-Worn Cameras Among Law Enforcement in Jamaica. The conversation will bring together policymakers, stakeholders, and members of the public to explore the growing need for body-worn camera legislation in Jamaica. From public safety to civil rights, the conversation goes beyond cameras. It's about transparency, protection, and the future of policing in Jamaica. So tune in to Cliff Hughes Online Wednesday, May 27 from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Catch this and so much more on our YouTube channel, Nationwide 90 FM Live. Keep your dials locked in to Nationwide 90 FM, the new revolution in media. This broadcast is brought to you by Jamaicans for Justice.
Here is the planet's ultimate game. The final of the Football World Cup.
The FIFA World Cup finals are coming to Nationwide 90 FM. We've long been the trusted source to deliver global sporting events like the Olympic Games and the World Championships. And now, we're about to have our fingerprint all over another successful landing of the biggest of them all, the FIFA World Cup finals.
Mbappe,
104 games across 39 amazing days of football from 16 cities in the Americas. Boston to New York to Monterey to Atlanta. Join the trusted source Nationwide 90 FM this summer as the globe tunes in to the FIFA World Cup Finals. And we've got it covered right here on Nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Argentina, champions of the world!
Good afternoon, listeners and viewers. Welcome. It is time for Nationwide at 5, the cover story. Again, I'm your host, Siobhan Campbell. Thank you for joining me on this Friday afternoon. Before we get into the business of the day, again, a reminder, if you're interested in seeing how the business of Nationwide gets done, please remember you can join the Nationwide Family Club today. Enjoy a 20% off when you sign up for a full year. You get exclusive content, behind the scenes access, and member only perks. And one of the perks is you get to have exclusive access to our production meetings. Again, that's patreon.com/Nationwide News Network. Be a part of the family. Now, we have an interesting topic today, a very troubling one actually, because a corporal in the Jamaica Constabulary Force has come to the defense of a confessed gun smuggler, Country Hype, writing to a federal court in support of the dancehall producer. Country Hype's given name is Tajay Hubert Days. The 33-year-old has pleaded guilty to 1 count of smuggling goods from the U.S. and 1 count of delivering a firearm to a common carrier without written notice. This is linked to the attempted smuggling of 24 handguns, 6 rifles, 32 magazines, and 102 rounds of ammunition. The shipment, which Country Hype has admitted to sending to Jamaica, was intercepted by the JCF at a port in Kingston in March 2025. He faces a maximum of 10 years in prison. However, as part of his plea deal, prosecutors have agreed to ask the court for leniency. The defense is asking for a sentence of no more than 36 months. As part of the pitch, 9 character witnesses have extolled Country Hype's virtues in letters addressed to the presiding judge. The police corporal, who gave his name as Jason Bennett, says he's known Country Hype for many years. He described the gun runner as respectful, humble, and family-oriented. Corporal Bennett says Country Hype has shown leadership, responsibility, and compassion to others, claiming he's done good in his community and has had a positive impact. The corporal is joined in his support of Country Hype by 8 other people, including the vice principal of a charter school from New Jersey, 2 music executives, and several friends. Now, was that an appropriate action for the policeman to take? For that discussion, we are being joined by security consultant and former JDF member Robert Finzi-Smith, public affairs commentator Glenroy Murray, and pro-chancellor and international ambassador of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Professor Anthony Clayton. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Siobhan.
Good afternoon to you all. So, first, just to get a reaction right out of the gate, Robert Finzi-Smith, a very unusual circumstance here, member of the JCF, a rank and file member, mind you, becoming character witness for someone who has admitted to being guilty of gun running in the United States.
You people have done the impossible, which is that you have rendered me speechless.
Oh dear.
Because, as I told somebody earlier, in the JDF, in the officer corps, there was a statement that was always, if you did something wrong, someone would tell you that is just not done. It's like our 10 commandments, 11th of the 10 commandments. Certain things you just don't do. Now, you use the position that you occupy in the constabulary to become a character witness for someone who didn't cross the street at the wrong place, who attempted to put deadly weapons into God knows whose hands in Jamaica, who already has a problem with deadly weapons, a problem you are sworn to attempt to stop. And you get up and say what a great person this is. We used to have another saying, we used to say the walk mash up. No, the walk mash up. I mean, you used to say, get a recommendation from a police officer. How can you tell somebody that when this officer has done that? But I hear in your report, please don't lose sight of the fact that there are other people who seem to have been influenced by the individual to the point where they are willing to stand up for him. Something not right here.
I hear you, Finzi Smith, but I mean, Glenroy Murray, just to get you in here, there is a distinction, though, between, say, two music executives who knew him, his former vice principal who probably knew him, and a member of the constabulary running to bat for him, so to speak. Wouldn't you agree?
Right. So I start at the position that it don't look good. It just doesn't look good for a member of the JCF that is tasked with combating crime to be seeming to be in support of a person who has admitted that they've committed a crime that would have a negative impact in society, in Jamaica specifically. But I've reflected and wondered, was he speaking as a member of the police force at the time, or was he speaking as a private citizen who has whatever personal relationship with another private citizen to help him in his plea in mitigation for a sentencing that where he has pled guilty to the crime? And I wonder, is there a space in which we can distinguish between that as a private act in the ways that the ethic and integrity policy of the JCF does, as opposed to him as a rank and file member of the JCF? Because at the end of the day, all members of the force are also private citizens, and the JCF itself recognizes that. And so despite the bad PR, it's so horrible for somebody to potentially speak on behalf of a person that they have a relationship with, even when they've done wrong.
And I can bring you in on that point, Professor Anthony Clayton. I mean, we instill certain abilities and powers in a member of the constabulary just by the basis of them being a member of the constabulary. Is it, as Glenroy Murray suggests, a possibility to separate the two, his private life and his membership in the constabulary, on such a topic as pointed out by both Finzi Smith and Glenroy Murray, something that touches deeply in Jamaica, the trafficking of weapons and firearms into the island?
We have to, Siobhan. That's what being professional is all about. You may have friends, but you have to enforce the law impartially, with neither fear nor favour. Now you just think for a minute what this guy, Country Hype, actually did. He was caught shipping 30 weapons into Jamaica, and he's been linked to maybe 6 other shipments. We could be talking about maybe even as many as 200 weapons that he's been involved in bringing in. And we know that each illegal weapon, each illegal gun in Jamaica is used quite often to kill more than one person. Some illegal weapons have been linked to 5, 6 murders. So how many men, how many children, how many women is Country Hype responsible for killing? And then you have somebody who's willing to come forward and be a character witness because apparently he's a nice guy. Well, I'll tell you something, Siobhan. Some of the major criminals do have personas as nice guys. They don't necessarily lead the high life. They're nice to old ladies. They look after the community. It's all part of maintaining a cover and protecting their criminal operations. And the fact that a police officer was sufficiently misguided or misled to think it would be a good idea to come forward and give this guy a character witness, I think it's the most grave error of judgment on his part, to put it mildly.
We are almost up on a break, gentlemen, and I want to come back because that's a very important point raised by Professor Anthony Clayton. A grave error in judgment. And I wonder if there's more to it than that, because I don't know if in my professional capacity as a journalist, I would be taking it upon myself to lend such a character witness, let alone somebody being a member of the constabulary. It just seems unfathomable to make that judgment. So I'm wondering if there's more to the story than simply it being a grave error of judgment. But let's take the break, gentlemen, and we come right back.
The time by Grace Good Move is...
It's 5:44.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore, for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household, and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's 30 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and it's 29 out west in Montego Bay.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close.
Hi, babe.
A network built in Jamaica for Jamaicans. But connection has never been just about the network. It's about the people behind every hello.
Yo, my general.
Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers. We have an interesting topic this afternoon where a dancehall artist, or I should say dancehall producer, found himself in court, in federal court in the United States, facing gun charges. He has pled guilty to the crime. His name is Country Hypes. His given name is Tajay Hubert Days, facing 10 years, pleading for leniency, hoping to get 36 months. But the shocker in this case is the fact that of the 9 character witnesses that extolled his apparent virtues, one of them is a member of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, a JCF Corporal, a rank and file member of the Constabulary Force here, the very Constabulary Force who intercepted that shipment that Country Hype tried to smuggle onto the island. Very interesting state of affairs there. And we have with us to discuss this further security consultant and former JDF member Robert Finzi Smith, public affairs commentator Glenroy Murray, and pro-chancellor and international ambassador of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Professor Anthony Clayton. And Clayton raised a very valid point there, that this is a error in judgment. But can you see it as a simple mere error in judgment on the part of a JCF member? Because would you believe then in a circumstances that maybe he was not aware of the full depth of the charges against his former friend, so to speak, this person that he's decided to write a character witness? Is there any possibility that he was simply just unaware of the depth of the concern raised here in the charges? I put that to you, Robert Finzi Smith.
I'm going to bring something to your attention that we have ignored. Is it possible that this entire operation was part of a larger operation, and the fact that they're trying to get reduced sentence means that he has cooperated in some fashion or the other, and could have helped set up the fine? Because there's certain things that don't play with in the state, and for you to want to move that amount of years, what, 36 months? Something into something.
So you believe he's third state witness?
Yes.
But wouldn't that have come out in the plea deal, so to speak, that the authorities would say in the United States that he's agreed to cooperate on certain things?
Not everything good for eat, good for talk.
So, again, though, I put it to you, Professor Clayton, because let us ignore the notion and try to make the attempt to separate this member's private life, this JCF member's private life, from his duties as a member of the constabulary. Wouldn't the constabulary still have force orders or certain standards in terms of how you relate to members who, not members, but members of the public who have criminal antecedents?
Yes, Siobhan, they do. The JGF and the JCF both have rules that cover situations like this. And Robert obviously will know more about the JDF protocols. But the JCF protocols are quite clear. And in a situation where you do maybe know the people involved, you've got personal friendships, maybe you come from the same community or something, it's quite clear your professional duty comes first. And in a criminal matter like this, especially when somebody's been accused of a very, very serious crime, which is weapons trafficking into a country that is still plagued with a very high level of gun violence, you cannot pretend that because this guy's your friend and because he's, or maybe because he's into dancehall or something like that, that he deserves any kind of special leniency under the law. In Jamaica, in this country, during the first quarter of this year, we have sent 6 people to jail for life for trafficking weapons.
Yes.
And, why is it that this person, who appears to be guilty of pretty much the same crime, should be getting off with a very lenient sentence? This doesn't make any kind of sense to me. Either you have justice for all, or else we don't have proper justice.
And Glenmore, under the circumstances, if you, as sitting there at the police commissioner's desk, this came across your desk and you read it, what would be your reaction and what would be your next steps at this point?
So, I'll answer your question and add something else. So, as a police commissioner, I think it would be inappropriate, and I would have a conversation with the corporal about what is expected and how actions like these might bring the force into disrepute. However, I think a lot is being conflated in the situation. One, he is being tried in a foreign court. He's not being tried in Jamaica. And so I don't know, in the ways that we're talking, that the actions of the corporal actually conflict with his professional duty.
I'm not to interrupt you, though, Glenmore, but yes, he was tried in the United States. But remember, the charge against him was trafficking guns to Jamaica.
Understood all of that. What I'm also saying, though, is that at the end of the day, he's showing up as a private citizen, providing a character reference in a U.S. court. And so I don't know then that the conversations of justice for all become live, because what I'm saying is he's not in that space, in that jurisdiction, in conflict with his professional duty as a member of the JCF. I think there's a nightmare that comes with it, but there's a broader conversation about what do we do as members of the force or any other profession where we have connections to people in our lives that may commit crimes. Are we to completely divorce ourselves from it if it's our family or people that we're close to and there's no action that we can do to provide them any type of support, especially in a context where he's pled guilty and it's a standard process in any criminal proceeding that people will do pleasing mitigations and get character references. There was nothing inordinate, extrajudicial, illegal in any way that he did. All he did was something that might be ill-advised and not look good, but in a broader sense, he's done nothing that puts him in flagrant delicto breach of any of the policies of the JCF based on my reading of them.
That's an interesting perspective. Robert Finley-Smith, as a former member of the security forces, not the police, but a former member of the security forces, would you accept that it was in a foreign jurisdiction?
No.
Do you think that is reasonable reasoning?
Let me lay this cards on the table as they are. One, the crime was committed initially in a foreign jurisdiction with weapons that were destined for and reached, not could have come, reached, they were intercepted here. Further to that, some bright-eyed prosecutor, if he decided to be really nasty, could try and charge anybody from the police force who come up with that kind of glowing recommendation as an access free after the fact.
No, they couldn't. Under no legal circumstances could somebody be tried for providing a character reference before court as an accessory after the fact without additional evidence.
I am a police officer.
And I'm a trained
I am aware of this. And I said, oh, he's a great fellow.
No, but we're not. But we have to say, Robert Fitzy, we're not. We don't know if the police officer knew that this country hype was trafficking. We can't make that leap or that stretch. Is what I think Glenroy Murray is suggesting.
That they're asking you to provide the character witness for would have clearly outlined what him being charged with.
Yes, but even though he knew what he was charged with, it's not that he's suggesting that he knew ahead of time that the member in question trafficked the weapons.
I'm talking about how it looked.
Yeah, but that's what Glenroy Moore is suggesting. That is simply just a PR nightmare for the constabulary. But if there should be more to it beyond that, and that's what I'm asking you, do you think on the merits of it is this raises a matter of integrity to the JCF?
And I would ask you to look at the JCF's code of conduct.
I did.
And pick off the ones he has messed with.
Actually, the code of conduct is not very explicit on this.
Which is interesting because, as I understand it, in other jurisdictions, it would be very, very, very explicit about having certain criminal antecedents attached to you. As I understand, in the United States, for example, if you fail to mention that you have a relative who has a criminal record or some other criminal record attached to them, you can be booted from the police force in the United States.
But this is not an antecedent, though. This is somebody who has been convicted while I am already a member of the force.
I just made that as a distinction. I understand the differentiation, but I'm saying, why would we not have something of a similar explicit nature here in our force orders in Jamaica? Professor Anthony Clayton, what say you on this matter? It was in a foreign jurisdiction. The JCF member may not necessarily have done anything to explicitly break the law here in Jamaica, but it just simply boils down to a PR nightmare for them as a result of this connection. Is that just a way to explain it away?
No, I don't think this would be covered by the JCF Code of Conduct, which actually mandates that officers are supposed to act with professionalism, impartiality. There's rules about discipline and so forth. And I would be very surprised if his behaviour did not contradict the JCF Code of Conduct, in which case the Commissioner will undoubtedly be taking further action on this.
Exactly. You, Glenroy?
But to be clear, having reviewed both the Code of Conduct and the ethics policy, there's nothing explicitly preventing him from participating in a process like this. What the Code of Conduct says is that he should not have communications with certain elements unless necessary for his job. So potentially it is implicated in that way. However, in the context of court proceeding where you are making reference to a person's broader character, I don't know that amounts to a breach, particularly where the ethics policy makes a clear distinction between what you do as a constable and what you do as a private citizen. There are limits to what a police can do as a private citizen, but there is a separation made, and that's my point.
He's a corporal.
One level above the lowest level.
But still, let me put it to you more explicitly, Glenroy Murray. Would you be comfortable as a member of Jamaican society, as just a private citizen, to know that a officer of the law here is providing character witnesses to a drug runner in the United States? No, sorry, a gun runner in the United States?
I started my position that it does not look good.
Okay.
I think it brings a certain dark cloud over the reputation of a JCF that it has been very strong on crime, particularly gun violence. I appreciate how it could potentially bring the JCF into disrepute. I acknowledge that. But I'm also prepared to reflect on that as against what are we saying private citizens can't do because of the jobs that they have, particularly in an instance when it deals with a foreign jurisdiction.
But I mean, that is an important context, though. As a private citizen, you don't have the kind of power and reach that a law enforcement officer has. There are reasons that some of these jobs have given these additional powers and the expectation of how they'll use it responsibly.
Sure, but as I said, the ethics policy does make a distinction between acting as a private citizen and acting as a police officer. Where I would take issue is if in that specific character reference, he uses his position as a constable to say, or a corporal, sorry, to say he has added credibility to defend this man, that would be an issue in my view. But if he's just saying, I know him and I know him to be a good person generally, outside of what he's done here, which everyone can do in a criminal litigation. Everybody can talk about how good of a person you are. This is a standard part of any criminal justice system. Then I can't use that as a punishment against people who have relationships outside of the work that they do. I do think it is not the wisest decision to make, but I don't know that it's something that should bar them from participation in the force or should draw additional punishment.
Interesting. Professor Anthony Clayton, last word to you. On along the same vein, do you think that this corporal, on the circumstances, should be separated from their job?
It's a matter for the Commissioner. There is ambiguity in the JCF Code of Conduct, and some of that ambiguity is deliberate because it does give the Commissioner discretion. But they are very sensitive to any suggestion that any member of the force may have some kind of connection to criminal activity. And it is inevitable that they are going to investigate that. They're going to ask why this corporal felt it necessary to come forward. It's one thing if somebody comes to you quite innocent and says, look, you're a police officer, I'm applying for a weapons license, can you give me a character reference? That's okay. But this is somebody who's been arrested on a very serious charge. He's awaiting trial. At that point, you should say, no, I'm sorry, I cannot touch this. I wish you could get a fair trial and so forth, but I cannot be seen to be getting engaged with you at this point. The corporal was, at a minimum, extremely unwise in doing what he did, and I'm quite sure that the JCF is going to have to look into his connections.
I'm sure we'll hear from the constabulary before the end of next week on this matter because it is very interesting. That is Pro-Chancellor and International Ambassador of the University of the Commonwealth Caribbean, Professor Anthony Clayton. We also had with us Public Affairs Commentator Glenroy Murray and Security Consultant and former member of the JDF, Robert Finzi Smith. Thank you all for joining us, gentlemen. It was really appreciated.
Thank you for your welcome.
We take a break for the headlines at 6, listeners, and then we come back with more.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is...
A minute after 6.
Nationwide headlines at 6.
Good evening with the headlines at 6. I'm Shalois Michael. Senate President, King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson has defended the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority FLA as the collective decision of the Parliament's presiding officers. Addressing the Senate on Friday, Tavares Finson hit back at the opposition leader Mark Golding's claim that the non-tabling is a breach of law.
Much of the discussion has been criticism directed at the Speaker of the House, who has been unfairly accused of attempting to thwart and stifle our democracy by her failure to table the report. I wish to make it abundantly clear that the decision not to table this specific report was not taken by the Speaker of the House in isolation. That decision was taken by the presiding officers. That is to say, myself as President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, in consultation with the clerk and the legal officers of the Parliament.
The failure to table the report has drawn condemnation from the opposition. The Commission submitted the report to Parliament on March 30, but to date it has not yet been tabled. The matter is currently before the court as the FLA is seeking non-disclosure of segments of the document. But Golding pointed to a previous court ruling on the matter of Ian Hales versus the Integrity Commission, stating that Parliament is not constrained by the current proceedings. However, Casey Tavares Finson says the Parliament has a different interpretation, which he believes is on firm legal footing.
The view was taken that those proceedings should move ahead until it became clear where the court was heading in this matter, and we determined that the document ought not to be tabled until the issue in the court was further ventilated. In fact, the approach that we have now adopted has received the approval of the most senior constitutional lawyer in this country, Dr. Lloyd Barnett, who says, if there is an application for non-disclosure in the courts, then you wouldn't frustrate the court's proceeding by tabling the legislation, by tabling the report. We have to have respect for the judicial system.
Meanwhile, the Senate President says he's been in receipt of a threat of legal action from the opposition leader. According to him, Golding wrote a memorandum to the Parliament demanding the FLA report be tabled no later than next week.
I trust that the Integrity Commission's investigative report of the FLA will be tabled at the next sitting of the House of Representatives and Senate, respectively. If not, I am putting the capital on it. If not, I intend to instruct legal counsel to file proceedings as advised in the memorandum. Well, no doubt the memorandum has already been released to the public. I consider this an unprecedented threat to the administration of Parliament and the conduct which I believe is beneath the dignity of the office of the Leader of the Opposition.
King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson, President of the Senate. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness says he has deliberately refrained from commenting on the fatal police shooting of a female taxi driver in Granville, St. James. The shooting, which was captured on CCTV, resulted in the death of a 43-year-old Latoya Bulgin, otherwise called Bujo. Dr. Holness knows that since the incident, he has received numerous letters, emails, and messages from members of the public urging him to speak on the matter.
I have been deliberately silent on the matter up until this point because as Prime Minister, I cannot and should not make statements that are not properly thought out. And in the immediacy of an event, sometimes we can make statements that more complicates than advance understanding. Clearly, I cannot address the facts and details of the matter, and I don't think the public expects me to do that, but I think the public needs some reassurance of who we are, what we believe, and what it is that we want to achieve. At the core of this is humanity and dignity. That's what it comes down to. Humanity, dignity, and respect.
Still, Dr. Holness emphasizes that the overarching responsibility of the state is to preserve and protect life.
I want that to be the default position. We do not pay taxes to fund the police force for the police force to be the instrument that takes life, or for any arm of the state for that matter. The objective is for the police force to preserve and protect life. When you go out on your duties and your operations, the default position must be we are going to protect and serve and preserve. There are some who go out with the default position that they intend to take life. But you as leaders, you must quickly identify those and correct that false notion that they have. Indeed, that is your core duty as leaders.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. The Independent Commission of Investigations is probing the fatal shooting of an American citizen at the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay, St. James early Friday morning. The man was seen on the airport grounds despite being unauthorized to be there. The police tried to apprehend him. However, it's alleged he started throwing objects at them. One policeman discharged his firearm, injuring the man. He later succumbed to his injury. His identity is still unknown. Those were the headlines at 6. I'm Shaloy Smikle. Sports is next.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
Tired of long lines and heavy grocery bags? Say hello to Fedlin Limited, your trusted online supermarket. Order through our website from anywhere locally or overseas. Create an account to earn reward points. Get discounts and special prizes. Enjoy same-day delivery in Manchester and St. Elizabeth or pick up at our store in Santa Cruz. Don't wait. Order today. Call 876-966-2214 or visit our website at fedlinsupermarket.com. Fedlin Limited, your groceries, your way.
From the biggest tracks to the biggest energy, Nationwide keeps it moving. If you love the vibes, come and lock in with us for real.
World boss, if a prison could stop me.
Join the Nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
Practice. God me say you watch you off me practice.
Good evening with your sports report. I'm Alric Swiby. We bowl things off with some cricket as Jamaica Scorpions batting star Kurt McKenzie says he would love to earn a recall to the two-test series against Sri Lanka in Antigua later this month as reward for his outstanding performances in the West Indies 4-day championships. McKenzie finished with the 7th highest aggregate score with 323 runs from 6 innings at an average of 59.93. He also managed 2 centuries. The only other player in the tournament to get more was Kevin Wickham of Barbados Pride with 3. The 25-year-old is now hoping when the test squad is announced for the series, his will be among the names on the team sheet.
It was a good series for me. I scored 200. I'm actually innings the first game. For me, the preparation was good going into the series. Just for me, to continue working. If I get picked for the series against Sri Lanka, that's good for me. If I don't, just continue working the same way.
Now, McKenzie made his debut for West Indies in 2023 against India and went on to play 5 more test matches before losing his place in the team. So what went wrong after that promising start?
I guess it's part of the sport. Form fell. Probably the work ethic wasn't there as much as possible. But for me, I'm glad that I'm back now. Just for me to continue working.
Kurt McKenzie. The West Indies coach Darren Sammy says there's a great deal of emphasis being placed on ensuring the 2-time world champions qualify automatically for the 50th World Cup in Africa. The West Indies will play 8 one-day internationals in the Caribbean this year, starting with 3 against Sri Lanka, June 3, 6 and 8 at Sabina Park. With only 1 series scheduled for next year, the West Indies will be hoping to take full points from the home series as the cut-off period for qualification is March next year. Sammy is only too aware of the situation and wants the team to perform accordingly.
We will need an all-round performance to beat Sri Lanka. I think they're in the top 5 ranked team in one-day cricket. But our main focus, honestly, our plan is looking at the ODIs. We already have the qualifications for the T20 World Cup in Australia 2028. So all our efforts is get towards making sure we defend our home soil. Those 8 ODIs we have on home soil this year, we got to make all 8 count.
Sri Lanka are ranked 6th in ODIs, while the West Indies are listed at 10th. There's a 10-day high-performance training camp currently underway in Antigua with 17 players involved. They will be joined later by players coming over from the Indian Premier League, and the final squad will be announced next Thursday. Now to some track and fielders. 2-time World Championship 200 meters gold medalist Sherika Jackson will highlight the Jamaican presence at Saturday's Xiamen Athletics meet in China, the second stop on the Wonder Diamond League circuit this season. Jackson is among 9 Jamaicans confirmed for the meet and will renew her rivalry with Bahamian star Shawnee Miller-Weibo and American star Sha'Carri Richardson in the women's 200 meters. The rematch from last Saturday's Diamond League opener in Shanghai will be one of the marquee matchups on the program. Jackson stormed to her fastest Diamond League 200 meters opener in 3 seasons when she logged 22.07 seconds to beat back the challenge of Miller-Weibo, who did 22.26, while Richardson placed 4th in 22.42. Jackson believes execution will once again be critical if she is to secure back-to-back wins on the Chinese leg of the circuit.
Just to execute properly, I think last week I did a pretty good job. I love competing with fast girls and all of them is fast, so it's something that we look forward to, a very competitive feel. As I said, I executed last week properly, but I think there's a little bit tweak to what I want to do tomorrow. So it's just to go out there and execute again properly, or even better than I did at the last meet, and I'll run pretty good.
The 100 meters hurdles will again get pride of place and promises another epic battle with one of the best lineups on the planet. It has the reigning world record holder Toby Amusan, current Olympic champion Masai Russell, the reigning world champion Ditaji Kambunje, Jamaica's two-time world champion Danielle Williams, Diamond League champion Akiba Nugent, and Jamaica's national champion Megan Simmons. Russell led home the field in Shanghai in a new meeting record and world-leading 12.25 seconds and is on the hunt for 2 in a row. The 110 meters hurdles is also expected to deliver another thrilling showdown, with all 9 competitors from the Shanghai meeting returning. Jamaica's Orlando Bennett will again line up against world champion and last season's Diamond League winner Cordell Tins and the Japanese record holder Rashid Murataki. Elsewhere in the field events, Jamaica will be represented by Tajay Gale and Wayne Pinnock in the men's long jump. Lamara Distin is set to compete in the women's high jump, while Rajinja Campbell will contest the men's shot put. Now to some footballers. Newcomers Real Mona and Los Perfectos face a daunting task in the return leg of the Jamaica Women's Premier League on Saturday as they seek to overturn first leg deficits against defending champions Fraser's Whip and Onyx Gardens respectively at the Captain Horace Burrell Centre of Excellence. Real Mona were handed a heavy 5-0 defeat in the opening encounter against Fraser's Whip and will lead a remarkable turnaround to keep their hopes alive. The newcomers have shown flashes of promises throughout the campaign, but the experience and quality of the reigning champions proved too much in the first leg. Despite the setback, head coach Neil Oxford remains optimistic that his youthful squad will approach the contest with determination.
La Realas nunca es derrotada. That's the motto of Reynolds Academy. Royalty is never defeated. And the defeat might have been today on paper, but there are so many lessons to learn from this game. So many might say the tie is over before it even had started, and we came out here, and I think at some points we had Fraser's trying to play some football as well. And I'll tell you like that, I look around the stands here today, and I can say it again every time I say it, if female football can get this turnout, football is winning in Jamaica.
Meanwhile, Los Perfectos are also chasing a comeback after suffering a narrow 3-2 loss to Onyx Gardens in their opening fixture. Coach Ricardo Martin believes his players are capable of producing a stronger performance in the return leg.
There's a lot of things that we saw in the game that today we could have, even today it could have been exploited. But I mean, as I said, all season we have a very young team around our skipper, and she has bring them along all season. So they'll continue to learn, and this is a massive experience for most of them today. So next week when we arrive here again, they will understand what it is, and I'm pretty sure they will give us a better account.
Ricardo Martin.
Nationwide presents the 2026 FIFA World Cup moment.
The Nationwide continues its build-up to the 2026 FIFA Men's World Cup by reliving big moments from past tournaments. Today's World Cup moment comes from Andreas Iniesta, who netted an extra-time winner over the Netherlands in the 2010 World Cup finals in South Africa.
Iniesta's in the middle all alone. If Fernando Torres can find him, it's stabbed away uncomfortably to Fabregas. Surely now, Spain have won the World Cup for the first time in history.
Nationwide will have live coverage of the tournament starting on opening day. We are now down to 20 days before kickoff.
That was Nationwide's 2026 FIFA World Cup moment.
And finally in boxing, Sakima Mullins, promoter of Spar Wars, explains he's excited about his debut boxing showpiece set to unfold on Sunday, May 24 at GW Car Park in Kingston. For Mullins, the boxers and their camp are ready and eager to compete.
Yeah, everything is coming along nicely. 48 hours out, the fighters are ready. They have their schedule. They'll be at their weigh-in tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. After they make weight, it's just for them to show back up at the venue on fight night, May 24th at GWE Car Park, 7 p.m. and to show and prove who's the best and who has the force.
Now, according to Mullins, the feature bout will showcase two of local boxing's biggest names.
The opening bout is going to feature Giancarlo Dujan versus Bruce Dash, and the main event is Daniel Hilton versus Toriano, the medic Nicholas, and the co-feature is Jermaine Breezy Richards versus Fabian Trucker. We have a total of 5 fights on the card. The fighters are excited. There's one because it creates a platform for them to fight, for them to showcase themselves in front of their country, in front of their friends, in front of their family, and the response has been overwhelming. That they're looking forward to come out to show and prove.
Sakima Mullins, I'm Alric Swiby, and that's your sports.
Label Crafts Jamaica Limited offers exceptional finishes that will make your product extraordinary at an affordable cost. The time by Label Crafts Jamaica Limited, the #1 choice for label printing is
6:19.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jack my figure dig the wall. Up a total tools. Weed whacker figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option.
Total Tools located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slive Road, Kingston.
And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
When life brings dreams, both big and small, you need a place that welcomes all. A helping hand, a friendly way. CNWJ Kennedy Union. People who care every day. Saving, growing side by side with a community full of pride. I belong.
Serving Jamaica since 1961. CNWJ Cooperative Credit Union. Discover the benefits of belonging.
If you've ever called in, shared your story, or got help on this show, then you're already family. Now make it official. Join the nationwide 90 FM Family Club today on Patreon.
It's that time again. Furnitureland and Carmen's Collections. Annual Labor Day sale. 40% to 70% off. Loads of living room sets, dining room sets, bedroom sets. Everything you need for your home. Incredible deals in the tents outside. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Furnitureland and Carmen's Collection. 112 Constant Spring Road, near the Shortwood Road stoplight. Your source for the exceptional.
Here is the planet's ultimate game. The final of the Football World Cup.
The FIFA World Cup finals are coming to nationwide 90 FM. We've long been the trusted source to deliver global sporting events like the Olympic Games and the World Championships. And now we're about to have our fingerprint all over another successful landing of the biggest of them all, the FIFA World Cup finals.
Mbappe.
104 games across 39 amazing days of football from 16 cities in the Americas. Boston to New York to Monterey to Atlanta. Join the trusted source nationwide 90 FM this summer as the globe tunes in to the FIFA World Cup Finals. And we've got it covered right here on nationwide 90 FM, the revolution in media.
Argentina, champions of the world!
Everything loud and wicked every Saturday 3 to 5 p.m. with Outside with Pepita. Loan vibes, loan laughs, and loan entertainment. Come on the road with we. Cause when we say Outside with Pepita, we're there all over Jamaica. Anyway, check them out. We're there. We're in on the business. Stay tuned in for prizes, surprises, giveaways, guest artists, and enough more. But hold on there. Don't forget to big up my DJ. DJ Jerome, the shell boss, I'm gonna make it bust to pew pew with the maddest, baddest, and latest tune. So So look out for Outside with Pepita. We might be coming to a town near you. You heard it here first. Outside with Pepita, Saturdays 3 to 5 p.m. on Nationwide 90 FM. The new revolution in media. Jamaica, lock it in and don't miss a thing.
Good evening, listeners and viewers. Welcome back to Nationwide 5. It's now time for the nation's business, and we turn to matters of the Parliament because Senate President, King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson has defended the non-tabling of an Integrity Commission report into the Firearm Licensing Authority FLA as the collective decision of the Parliament's presiding officers. Addressing the Senate on Friday, Tavares Finson hit back at Opposition Leader Mark Golding's claim that the non-tabling is a breach of law.
The question that Senator Brown asks is one that I can address and had not really intended to do so, but since it is raised by Senator Brown, I have no alternative but to deal with it. And the question is essentially whether there is any other report from the Integrity Commission which has been sent to this Parliament but has not been tabled. Indeed, there is such a report which was received from the Integrity Commission on the 30th of March 2026 concerning the conduct of the Firearm License Authority. Over the last several days, there has been wide and varied comment within the chamber of the lower house and in the public domain concerning the non-tabling by the Parliament of the said report which I referred to from the Integrity Commission of Jamaica. Much of the discussion has been criticism directed at the Speaker of the House, who has been unfairly accused of attempting to thwart and stifle our democracy and its institutions by her failure to table the report. She has been incorrectly accused of breaching provisions of the Integrity Commission Act 2017. It is not my intention to delve into the details of the legislation. However, it is to be noted that the legislation, that is to say the Integrity Commission Act, does not impose an obligation on the presiding officers to table reports received within any specific time or indeed at all, but rather states that the Commission is to submit reports to the Parliament for tabling. The decision to table or not and when to table rests with the presiding officers of the Parliament. I wish to make it clear, I wish to make it abundantly clear that the decision not to table this specific report was not taken by the Speaker of the House, the Honorable Juliet Holness, in isolation. That decision was taken by the presiding officers. That is to say, myself as President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, in consultation with the clerk and the legal officers of the Parliament. Persons who are well aware of this, however, have sought to ascribe the decision as not to table the report solely to the Speaker of the House, in yet another attempt to besmirch her authority and tarnish her reputation. I am not surprised by these attacks, however, as there is a long history of attacking strong women in leadership in this country by many sections of our society. In arriving at our position, that is to say, not to table the report from the FLA at this time. We consider the decision in the Hales matter, which made it clear that proceedings in the Parliament are within the sole purview of the presiding officers of the Parliament, not the Speaker or the President, the presiding officers of the Parliament.
That's Tom Tavares Vincent there, the President of the Senate. Well, the matter he's discussing is currently before the court as the FLA is seeking non-disclosure of segments of the document. But opposition leader Mark Golding pointed to a previous court ruling on the matter of Ian Hales versus the Integrity Commission, stating that Parliament is not constrained by the current proceedings. However, KC Tavares Vincent says the Parliament has a different interpretation, which he believes is on firm legal footing.
The decision cited as the Supreme Court of Judicature of Jamaica, claim number 2017 HCV 00744, between Ian Hales, applicant, and Charlotte Alexander Hales, respondent, the Contractor General, interested parties, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, first interested party, and Senator Tom Tavares Vincent, second interested party. And the judgment, which runs over just about 40 pages, says, and I want to just quote paragraph 60 at page 33, the Speaker of the House and the President of the Senate would have been acted inter vires by tabling the report submitted to it by the OCG. Their action would be categorized as Parliament conducting their internal affairs, and as such, their actions, listen to this, their actions would be immune from the jurisdiction of the court. I find that the Speaker of the House and President of the Senate were improperly joined to the application for leave to the interested parties. The bottom line, and for those who wish a simple explanation of all of this, is that the internal proceedings of the Parliament are directed and conducted not by the Speaker, not by the President, but by the presiding officers, both the President and the Speaker, both of whom took the decision in this matter after consultation with the relevant authorities of the Parliament. There is currently a matter before the court seeking non-disclosure of the report, and the view was taken that those proceedings should move ahead until it became clear where the court was heading in this matter. And we determined that the document ought not to be tabled until the issue in the court was further ventilated. Let me point out that this approach is nothing new, as it is a process that was followed in the Ian Hales matter, and which was supported by the then leader of the opposition, Mr. Peter Phillips. In fact, the approach that we have now adopted has received the approval of the most senior constitutional lawyer in this country, Dr. Lloyd Barnett, who says, if there is an application for non-disclosure in the courts, then you wouldn't frustrate the court's proceeding by tabling the legislation, by tabling the report. We have to have respect for the judicial system. In fairness, let me just read the precise words. If there is an application for non-disclosure, then you wouldn't frustrate the court's proceedings. We have to respect the judicial system. In closing, late last evening, I received a letter in my capacity as President of the Senate, addressed to myself and the Speaker of the House, both presiding officers, and addressed to the clerk, from the leader of the opposition, Mr. Mark Golding. In that letter, Mr. Golding said, and I must say, I had no intention of reading this letter, except to say that this morning, the correspondence appears in the Gleaner, on the Gleaner website. So several hours after it was sent to us, it is in the newspaper. Dear Madam Speaker and President, I'm sending you a memorandum of today's date, prepared by the Honorable B. St. Michael Hilton, KC, on the captioned matter. Please see attached. The captioned matter being subject, failure to table the Integrity Commission investigative report on the Firearm Licensing Authority sent to the Parliament on March 30, 2026. Now, so he says that he's sending this report to us, a memorandum prepared by learned King's Counsel, Mr. Michael Hilton. And then he says, having now shared with you the benefit of this clarification of the legal position of eminent senior counsel, I trust that the Integrity Commission's investigative report of the FLA will be tabled at the next sitting of the House of Representatives and Senate, respectively. If not, I am putting the capital on it. If not, I intend to instruct legal counsel to file proceedings as advised in the memorandum. Well, no doubt the memorandum has already been released to the public. I consider this an unprecedented threat to the administration of Parliament and the conduct which I believe is beneath the dignity of the office of the leader of the opposition. Without saying too much, listen, without saying too much, I would just indicate that the presiding officers, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, and myself as President of the Senate will not bow to any intimidation or threat, but will administer the affairs of the Parliament in accordance with established protocols, the standing orders, and the Constitution of Jamaica, which is the supreme law of the land. I'm still speaking. I thank Senator Lambert Brown for raising the matter and giving me the opportunity to offer the relevant clarification.
That's Senate President Tom Tavares Finson. They're speaking in the upper house just this morning. Well, we're going to take a quick break, listeners, and then we come back with noted constitutional attorney, as referenced there by the Senate President, Dr. Lloyd Barnett.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:36. And welcome back, listeners, viewers. As we said there, the matter of the non-tabling of the Integrity Commission report on the Firearm Licensing Authority, again, a subject of much debate. Senate President King's Counsel Tom Tavares Finson defending the decision which he said was taken collectively by the presiding officers of the Parliament, that's himself and Juliet Holness as Speaker of the House, alongside the counselling from the Parliamentary Legal Counsel as well as the clerk to the Houses of Parliament, suggesting that they believe they should wait for the court proceedings regarding the FLA, calling for some aspects of the report not to be disclosed. That's currently before the court, and they wait the decisions from the court before tabling the report that they now have on their hands. Well, as you heard from the Senate President, he suggested that that was in line with thinking from one of the country's most noted constitutional attorneys, if not the most noted constitutional attorney, Dr. Lloyd Barnett, and he joins us now. Good evening, Sir Barnett.
Good evening to you and your listeners.
Good evening to you, sir. So is the Senate President accurate? Is that your belief that the Parliament should not, this is my word, frustrate, so to speak, the actions of the court as they now deliberate on this matter?
I can't recall the exact context in which I made that statement, but it was based on specific provisions of the Integrity Commission Act, which says that the report to Parliament from the Commission should not contain any matter which is prejudicial to proceedings or which disclose confidential, professional, privileged material. So that is not purely on the basis of general principle, but a specific provision of the Act itself, which has that embargo.
And since we don't have that document in front of us, I mean, i.e. the FLA report and the Integrity Commission the FLA itself has raised some concerns about aspects of that report in the court. Do you think, under the circumstances, the presiding officers of the Parliament have essentially said, no, let's hold off and see where things go? Is that an appropriate stance to take?
Yes, I think because of the provisions of the Act, not on the general principles, because you know that in particular reference to criminal proceedings, there's a general principle that you don't make public statements which may prejudice those proceedings. But the Act itself has a specific provision which I just referred to, which says that any pending proceedings which may be affected by the disclosure should not even be included in the report. So that what would have to be done is that particular aspect would have to be redacted if the report is tabled, because it should not have been included if there are, I would say, contemplated or recommended criminal proceedings.
And how does that now fit into the previous decision between the Integrity Commission and Ian Hales, as has been quoted by both Tom Tavares Finson and Mr. Golding on this matter, suggesting that the Parliament need not constrain itself with the matters outside of its bounds in terms of the tabling of the report. If there's a court proceeding going on,
Parliament would take into account what the Act says, and if the Act says it should not have been included in the report, then Parliament would not table and make public the content of the report, which includes that particular, statement, which is the subject of the dispute, so that the exclusion of the report is maybe one method of dealing with it, or redacting the particular areas which offend the principle which has been laid down by the Act.
But even in those circumstances, because we don't know what is actually in the report and what would need redacting, so it would then leave it to the Parliament acting on its own recognizance and understanding as to the court proceedings.
Well, if it says that it should not be published, then you can't have the publication and say that after it has been published, you decide whether or not it should be redacted.
So either way, they're constrained by the court decision until the court has essentially said, go ahead, they shouldn't act, is what you're suggesting.
I think the Act is a little too generalized. It should be more specific. And as I say, Parliament normally, there are two things Parliament can do. It can, and I'm not dealing specifically with this statutory provision.
Yes, understood.
But Parliament can, when a report or any document is submitted to it, it can agree that particular sections of it should be kept confidential. Although the members see it, then they are bound to observe the confidentiality in respect of those sections of the material which has been resolved not to be published. And although we don't ever recognize the ability of Parliament to deal with certain things privately, Parliament has that power. Parliaments all over the world have that power, and our standing orders allow that in exceptional circumstances. So that sometimes in order to allow a debate, but not to prejudice the rights of other persons, you may release it on a limited basis.
Yes. And there's the matter, because in the Ian Hales situation, we understood that there was an injunction granted by the court essentially blocking the tabling of that report. In this case, no injunction has been sought beyond them just going to the court asking for there to be a non-disclosure.
Well, an injunction is sought and granted because somebody is about to do the wrong thing. They don't have to wait till an injunction is granted to do the right thing. you know.
Interesting. And then finally, Lloyd B., this matter of Mark Golding suggesting that he will bring the presiding officers to court on this issue, is there legal precedent in Jamaica's history of that being done, where the Senate president and the Speaker of the House are brought before the court because they've decided that they're not tabling a specific document or something along those lines? I can't recall hearing this before.
I can't at the moment recall a case of that nature.
And on what grounds do you see as a possibility of such a legal challenge? Not even a legal challenge, such a legal claim being made.
I've told you what the act says. I'm not going to speculate beyond that.
Okay, so you don't have you can't foresee a grounds on which the opposition leader takes the parliament to court?
I would have to see the pleadings, the claim form or whatever they find, to make an assessment. But with regard to what I've said about the provisions of the Act, I'm not really understanding the basis.
Interesting. So just to wrap up, Lloyd B., just in your basic words, do you believe that the decision taken by the presiding officers of the Parliament is on firm legal footing at this time?
Well, I have to accept that what they have excluded is in fact prejudicial, because that is the statutory ground on which they can exclude it from being tabled, that it should not have been included because of that prohibition. So that on that assumption, if they are right in that, then the decision will be justified.
Well, we'll see, because come next week, I understand we don't have a sitting of the House of Representatives scheduled for next week, Tuesday, but we'll see if come Friday, if Mr. Golding makes good on that potential threat of legal action against the presiding officers. Thank you, Dr. Barnett, for joining us this evening.
All the best, man.
We take a break, listeners, and then we come back with not around the world, but something closer to home. So please stay with us.
For 25 years, Digicel has been keeping Jamaica better connected. From late night calls to the texts, clicks, and moments that keep us close. Celebrating 25 years. Digicel, powered by you, connected by us.
It's that time again. Furnitureland and Carmen's Collections. Annual Labor Day sale. 40% to 70% off. Loads of living room sets, dining room sets, bedroom sets. Everything you need for your home. Incredible deals in the tents outside. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Furnitureland and Carmen's Collection. 112 Constant Spring Road, near the Shortwood Road stoplight. Your source for the exceptional.
For all your electrical needs, visit ABC Electrical Sales. They stock a wide variety of electrical supplies, including plugs, switches, panel boards, and conduits, plus energy-saving fixtures. ABC Electrical Sales stocks brands like GE, Siemens, Philips, Cutler Hammer, and Allen Bradley. They also offer free island-wide delivery just to suit your needs. Visit them at Shop 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10, or call 876-754-3714-5 or 876-754-3825-8. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice in the electrical business.
Welcome back, listeners, viewers. As said, we're not going around the world. We're staying here in Jamaica today because ThropX is a premier investment conference focused on connecting the Jamaican diaspora and global investors with real actionable opportunities here in Jamaica. Held annually in Negril, Jamaica, ThropX brings together key stakeholders across real estate, finance, government, and development to create a centralized platform for investment, education, networking, and deal-making. As part of this year's conference, President of the Realtor Association of Jamaica, Gabriel Grant Gilpin Hudson, is set to participate in a panel discussion examining the current state of Jamaica's real estate market, with particular attention to Western Jamaica and the shifting landscape in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Well, she joins us now, as well as the founder and CEO of Throp Media and the ThropX Investment Conference, Winthrop Wellington. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening to you both. Good to hear from you. Starting with you, Mrs. Gilpin Hudson, can you explain to us the thinking behind this year's TROPEX conference? As you said, you're shifting the focus to Western Jamaica in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, and we all know that Western Jamaica particularly hard hit by Hurricane Melissa. How has that reshaped the real estate landscape there?
Well, I think that, of course, the focus right now would be on rebuilding, but long-term, the focus is on resilience and sustainability. And, you know, the old saying that where there's a disaster, there is opportunity. And I think now is a really good time for persons looking to come in to, you know, get the knowledge and, you know, connect with the professionals on the ground to see what opportunities there are, because the West is going to be rebuilt and rebuilt stronger. The infrastructure is going to get better, and so it's only going to go up from here.
And the conference put on their TROPEX Investment Conference, can you tell us more about this matter, Mr. Wellington?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, this is my annual Jamaica Investment Conference that I have every year. And as you speak about Hurricane Melissa, this was actually supposed to take place in November, but because of the hurricane, we had to push it to May, actually. And so we mainly focus on, in a large part, is trying to get the diaspora to reconsider moving back to and investing here in Jamaica. And we try to put, if you will, everything and everyone under one roof that you would need to help you facilitate you to move from one country to another. And that essentially is what we try to do in the week that we have together for TROPEX.
And under the circumstances, in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, do you see that as presenting an opportunity or a potential setback when seeking that investment?
Absolutely an opportunity. I agree with Gabrielle wholeheartedly. I was actually in a meeting yesterday here in Negril, and there was a presentation done by the Ministry of Tourism with the Minister of Tourism, the Honorable Edmund Bartlett, who presented to Negril the destination management plan, which includes 98 different projects over a 15-year period that really is going to completely reshape Negril. And they are essentially using the silver lining, if you will, of Hurricane Melissa to really kind of rocket boost this opportunity of creating resilience, and hopefully we don't have any other near future hurricanes, but nonetheless, we want to prepare for that. But using the advent of NARA and rebuilding in Negril in a very reimagined way. And it's really, really incredible, and we're really excited for it.
And Mrs. Gilpin Hudson, what is the real estate landscape looking like in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa? What's being sought? Are we just talking about rebuilding as it was, or are investors and those seeking these real estate opportunities looking for something more?
Well, what I would say is that you have a mix of the demand over here in the West, where you have individuals looking to come and, you know, whether that is their retirement property, their vacation property, or an investment rental property, looking to secure an opportunity like that. But also, from where I'm sitting, I also see a lot of large institutional persons, whether that's from locally or overseas, putting money and investing in larger projects in the West because the opportunity is there. And, you know, when you have that long-term vision, building on that destination management plan, building on what's going to come from legislation like NARA to fast-track some of these really needed infrastructure investments, you know, the potential is so great. So persons are awake to that, and you're seeing the investment flow accordingly. And this was also happening before the hurricane, you know. So if anything, I would say that it's only the opportunities only gotten better because the hurricane in a weird way has actually shone a lot of light on the opportunity in Western Jamaica.
And Winthrop Wellington, this conference is designed to essentially bring the diaspora and those overseas to put their investment back here in Jamaica, to come back here, as you said, to retire, etc., to help build up the country. But what about the opportunities that present themselves to those who already live here locally? Is there something there for them?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of Kingstoneians, Montagonians also coming to the conference as well. And so it's a mixed bag in the sense that we have education panels, which we are very lucky and proud to be having Miss Gabrielle come and join us. But then we also have the practical side of it in 2 days of real estate tours. So you may know Negril, but you may not know the Negril real estate opportunities that exist. So you come and hop on a bus with us and see everything from parcels of lands to apartments to houses that are for sale. And then we also go to St. Elizabeth and we go to Treasure Beach and we see the opportunities that are there. And you may have gone there to vacation, but you may not necessarily know the professional real estate landscape that exists there. And we try to provide those opportunities for Jamaicans abroad and here locally as well.
And Gilpin Hudson, this matter of the momentum that has been created in terms of the investment opportunities out there in Western Jamaica, what's driving it? Is it simply just the tourism appeal of that Western area, or is there more to it?
I think it's the tourism appeal, but it's also that persons are becoming awake to the long-term vision of the government in terms of unlocking the potential of this area by investing in infrastructure. So, for example, improving our road networks across the island and also looking to even this airport project, that would be major, a game changer for this end of the island. And so, you know, the saying goes, get in while you can, because when all of those projects are finished, you know, the prices can only go up from here. And it is a very beautiful, virgin, untapped section of the island, right? And there's a lot of opportunity and maybe not as much eyes or competition as, for example, something on the North Coast or in Kingston.
And I suppose that the adage still remains that real estate remains a seller's market.
For sure. I think right now, because of the economic climate globally, persons are sensitive to price. But what I would say is value is what people are ultimately looking for. And so if your property is not priced well in this market, it's not going to sell, it's going to sit there. But if it's priced well and you're working with a, you know, experienced professional to guide you on that pricing, on that marketing strategy, you will see the activity in the market.
Interesting. And then final word to you, Winthrop Wellington. What can those who come here in search of the Thropex investment conference, what can they expect in terms of what will be the deliverables and what will be the opportunities presented to them over the days that it will be running?
Sure. So I think one of the best things that people will walk away from this conference with is really meeting spectacular people who, in attendees and then also the presenters that we have. I think we've done a spectacular job in putting together really high-level panelists that are, the way I look at it, they are the ones who are shifting and moving Jamaica forward. And I want to introduce you to as many people as possible along those lines, because I always say investing in Jamaica or moving to Jamaica, your experience really is going to be dictated by the quality of the people that you work with. And then more on the practical side of things, as you know, to do any type of business in Jamaica, you need a TRN and you need a bank account. And what we do on our Getting Business Done Day is we facilitate that for you right on conference property. And we're able to partner with the Tax Administration of Jamaica and then also the VM Group to get you your TRN right on conference property, and then also open your Jamaica bank account right here. So you don't have to go to stand on any long lines, or you don't have to leave Negril, which you otherwise would have had to done. And we try to make it as easy and facilitate it as streamlined as possible, your experience of getting into the Jamaican market, moving here, investing here, and try to make it as seamless as possible for you.
That's founder and CEO of Throp Media and the Thropex Investment Conference, Winthrop Wellington. We're also joined by the president of the Realtor Association of Jamaica, Gabrielle Grant Gilpin Hudson. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us this evening.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for having us.
And all the best with the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, listeners, this is where Nationwide at 5 comes to an end. Please stay tuned for the comment section with Shalois Michael. But just something I hope the powers that be will just give me this 1 minute to say something. I've noted in the last few weeks how the Speaker of the House of Representatives, that's Juliet Holness, and I will speak specifically to the office and how that office has been treated by members of the parliamentary opposition. And I saw something in our news this morning referencing a podcast online and a comment made by Nikisha Burchell in relation to the speaker and aspects of to how certain women treat their men in society. And I just have to say, stop it. This has gone well beyond the pale. If you don't want to respect the lady sitting in the chair, have respect for the office and the parliament. There's some things that just should not be said. And I find it even more troubling. As someone who doesn't buy into a lot of the feminist propaganda, it seems it's always the women tearing the women down. And I feel this is a matter that has gone well past where it should have gone. And that statement made by Nikisha Burchell on that podcast, she should be ashamed that she made it, in reference to a fellow parliamentarian and the Speaker of the House of Representatives. And it is disturbing as to the level of treatment outside of what you have your concerns for professional conduct that the Speaker has had. Some things should just not be said. And I will leave it at that, listeners. Thank you for joining us at Nationwide at 5 this evening. Thanks to our super producer, Dana Davey, our technical operator, Andrew the Glenn, the big man, Bugs Anderson, and the best news and production department in the country, led by the very capable Cara Powell. I'm Siobhan Campbell. Have a good evening.
Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN.